I want to talk about budgets. I want to talk about the mismanagement by our leaders of our money. Let's be clear. This is our money. This is the money you work very, very hard for. It comes out of your paycheck as a tax. The government is charged with using it responsibly. They are not charged with using it as they see fit. And I have a real problem when they go and overspend the money that both you and I work very, very hard for, that we could be spending on our families, that we could be spending to build businesses, that we could be spending to create jobs and create a better economy. When we give the government that money, we use the opportunity to invest it back in the economy. So they better be spending it responsibly. And that's why I have real problems with what's happening here with our current mayor of London. You've seen the headline, and I'll put it up right now. The mayor has said that the coronavirus has left a 500 million pound black hole in London's finances, but we know that's not true. Blaming it on the virus is the wrong thing to do here. And so let's look at what's happening right now with the current budget for the mayor of London. So recently, the Labour mayor outlined 500 million pounds worth of cuts to public services, okay? This is what he's cutting. Fire services. They are being already drastically cut to a service that was already deprived of an adequate budget. And we've seen what happens when you cut budgets from the fire department. And what was highlighted there is the tragedy that we saw happen at Grenfell. That was one of the problems that happens when you cut fire service budgets. Next, we see police services are being drastically cut. We've seen a recruitment freeze for most vacancies in the police department, and we've seen financial reserves that are being deployed to keep police numbers where they're at now at 32,400. The budget cuts alone in policing that the current mayor has just made are the equivalent to the salaries of 1,681 police officers. Imagine that. Currently, with knife crime going through the roof, with our mayor just recently celebrating the 100th death of one of our teenagers due to murder in this capital from a lack of policemen on the streets. He is now cutting the budget that would cut another further 1,681 police officers on the street when we need to be increasing those numbers. That's one of the things he's also doing. He's also cutting transport projects. He's put on hold currently the critical repair of the Hammersmith Bridge, which is a major artery here in London that is killing our economy by having that backed up every single day. He's also put on hold the Canary Wharf to Rotherhithe ferry service. He's put on hold the Sutton Tram extension and the Bakerloo Line extension, which is crushing our transportation system. And again, the Hammersmith Bridge closure is causing untold misery to hundreds of thousands of commuters who travel from Southwest London every single day. This is what happens when the mayor starts cutting the budget. And one of the Greater London Associate Conservative leaders that works with our current mayor every single day, Susan Hall, and there's a picture of her here, has gone on to speak frankly about what the mayor is doing right now. And she says, quote, as usual, Sadiq Khan is treating this crisis as a press opportunity to attack the government rather than a problem he is responsible for solving. And she goes on to say, his gambit is that by playing the part of a quote unquote poor mayor and publicly calling for ministers to step in and bail him out again, Londoners will not notice that he is the one choosing to drop the axe on the vital services that keep our city safe. And Ms. Hall went on to add, quote, I will pay Sadiq Khan one compliment when it comes to his mayoralty. He has achieved something remarkable. And she says, quote, he has turned the mayor of London from being one of the most powerful roles in the country into a broke office looking for a discount city hall. And she went on to say, quote, sadly, it's Londoners who are paying the price. But I would go on to say something about you, Susan Hall, and your Conservative Party. And I would say this, sadly, Susan, it's actually your own Conservative government that put us here with billions and billions of pounds in debt in our Transport for London with your candidate, Boris Johnson, as mayor. So this finger-pointing thing, I'm not on board with. I'm not on board with it from you, Susan, with our current mayor, or with Boris Johnson, because we pay the price. And while we're on this point of pointing fingers, today the Conservative government here in Britain just announced that they are freezing the pay for 4 million of our key public service and sector workers. 4 million. Their pay has been frozen. They will not get their normal adjustments for inflation. And so both parties need to take responsibility here for squeezing the essential services. And honestly, when I read the budget that our current mayor proposed this week, with a drop of 493 million pounds in spending, it was hard to watch and hard to listen to and hard to read. He's squeezing crucial services. He's even squeezing his own Green New Deal that was supposed to make this city greener. He's slashing the budget for that. And this all is because of his own fiscal irresponsibility. But then again, why would we expect a man who has spent his whole career as a local authority politician to understand anything about management, about leadership, about finance, about entrepreneurship, about any of this? And yet we're giving him a 17 billion pound budget. We're giving him a staff of 27,000 people and expecting him to run this in a fiscal manner. And I'll say one thing. When they fail year after year after year to balance their budgets, what do? We reelect them and we give them another job. So we're giving them the wrong message. And like I said, in the entrepreneur world, in the real world where I live, if you fail to balance your budget, you get eliminated. And that's what we plan to do on May 7th. And so I want to get your thoughts here. What do you think of these gaping holes in the budget? What do you think of this massive fiscal mismanagement, not just by the current Labour government here in London, but by the Conservative government, formerly as mayor and currently in our national government? Do you think it's fair? The taxpayer funds should be used for governments that go over budget. Do you think it's fair to increase congestion charges? Do you think it's fair to increase fares for our children? Do you think it's fair to slash budgets for our fire department? Do you think it's smart to slash budgets for our police department? Do you think it's fair to slash budgets for our environment and our green initiatives?